The Local Women Interior Design Podcast is brought to you by Bassett's, Northern Ireland's leading multi-award-winning bathroom, heating and tile specialist.
Hello and welcome to Local Women's Interiors Podcast in association with our sponsors, Bassett's Bathrooms. I'm Sheena Thompson, lead designer and founder of Sheena Noel Design, and this is a podcast where we talk about everything interiors related, from the latest trends to advice from industry experts and so much more. Today on the podcast, I'm delighted to be joined by Mark from Mason Automation. So Mason Automation are a cutting-edge company based in Cookstown who are revolutionising everyday living through home automation. From voice-activated lighting to integrated security, heating and entertainment, they are making our homes smarter, more efficient and more secure. So today on the podcast, we're going to dive in and discuss what really is home automation, what's possible, and how it's not just for techies and luxury homes any longer, how their new revolution in smart homes is transforming our lives and what future home life is going to look like. Mark, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Sheena. How's things?
Oh, good. I am going to be honest, I am delighted to be diving into this topic today because I think we always focus much on how our homes look and the aesthetics, but I'm really passionate about how they function. And I think that's something that you're really, transforming in Northern Ireland at the moment.
Yeah, definitely are. It's very, very exciting, especially what we do. It's like, as you say, they're transforming homes into smart homes. Just things can be done with one touch of a button. It's absolutely amazing. And not even with one touch of a button, as you say, voice activation or even having sensors and all that will activate lights coming on, and it's just absolutely amazing.
It mind boggles what can actually be achieved. So maybe give me a little background. Where did Mason Automation begin? Where did this come from?
Mason Automation started back in, we really got going around about 2001, and I am an electrical engineer by, that's what I am, that's my background is. So I worked in automation in a different sector in this year for years. And then I came home out of England because of COVID, because I spent a long time there working, travelling back and forward. And a friend of mine, or really actually a cousin of mine, was building a home, and he asked me about automation, and he knew that's what my background was, and he says, can I take a wee look into it and see? And the more I looked into it, I was absolutely amazed by what you can do. Yeah. I always was into techie stuff, when all the time, not when I was younger, but always and the more I delved into it, the more it intrigued me and what you could do within a home, and I was like, this is absolutely amazing. I want to do more of this here. Yeah. So I tinkered away at it in the background because I was working in a full-time job, and then it just got to the stage where things started to grow, and I just said, I'm just going to give this a go, and I just went for it, and here I am now today.
Yeah, well, as I say, I've said to you before, I think you're ahead of the curve because I think this is something we're all waking up to, and you've been working on it since 2021. So for people who aren't familiar with home automation or smart home technology, in a nutshell, what is home automation?
With home automation and the smart technology, it's all about simplifying the life, and with the way things are at the minute, with everybody using their phone so much, it's about being able to activate and control things in your home off your phone, just to simplify it down. Yeah. And then also just making things easier for you.
Yes.
With houses at the minute, houses with them more modern, they're coming and they've got a multitude of lights within an area where kitchen, whatever. Yeah. And what you can do with automation is, rather than having loads and loads of switches that would be on the wall, you can condense that down to just one switch, and that one switch control maybe 5 or 6 different circuits on there. Yes. You can set your scenes. You can control your heating. Your heating will come on by detecting whether or not if you're in the room or not. Yes. Also, it controls the temperature. But if you weren't in the room, if you had a big massive house and there's different areas of the house that weren't being used, well, you can have certain rooms that say there's a presence detector in there. It'll say, right, there's nobody in this room. We can bring this room back to economy mode, which means you're saving energy and you're not heating certain areas within the home. It's just really about making life easier for you in the long run. Yes. And with automation it's not a one size fits all.
Yes.
It varies. We do homes for people that are maybe in their 20s all the way up to in their 60s and 70s, and even that various people is they can see how the application of smart technology in home can simplify their lives. This week, I was back at a house there for a couple in their 60s, and they wanted to be able to have music come on when they enter the room in the mornings. They wanted the lights to come on at a certain level at certain times of day, and also one of the features was they built this big like a sunroom on, and they wanted to control the blinds in it with motorization. And then that means that the blinds will close at certain times of day to restrict the sun levels come in. And also when they come in the morning, the blinds and all are opened up for them. So they don't have to even think about things together. So it really just takes away from the thinking that you have to do when you're home. It just works away in the background as like a mini brain. And that mini brain just does everything for you and you don't have to do nothing at all.
It sounds amazing. So your home basically is running itself. No need to worry about when the blinds go up, when the blinds go down, the heating levels in different rooms. You can preset all that and your home's going more efficient.
All preset, and yes, more efficient. It's all preset beforehand, and it just works in the background. And as I say, they've switches in the walls. You don't even use the switches.
Amazing.
Times of the day, you can bring the lights on with a sensor, and it'll just work seamlessly. And as I say, like this couple here, they like to come down in the mornings for their breakfast, and they come down, and as soon as the lights come on, their radio station that they like to listen to will come on at a certain level, and that'll be playing in the background, and they don't even have to do nothing at all. All they do is just sit down and relax and have a cup of coffee.
Like walking into your favourite hotel and everything's sitting for you just as you like it.
Oh my God, I know.
It sounds perfect.
Oh, it sounds absolutely amazing. And that's the thing with automation with a home, is whenever you finish like a project like that there, and you see how happy and just the way they love how everything is how they interact with and how everything is controlled. It's absolutely amazing to see the finished product look.
Yeah, and I think people probably don't even understand what all is available, what you can preset and have running in the background without any thought given to it. Like, like you say, radio stations, like that's something I probably wouldn't even have thought about coming on in the morning just as you like it. So what would you say is the most popular things that you're finding homeowners are asking you to have automated or integrated into their homes? Is it things like blinds or lights, or what would you say is your most popular?
Mainly at the minute would be probably lighting and heating.
Yeah.
That would be the main one that people are doing.
Yeah.
As I say, especially with like the kitchens, for example, at the minute, with all your LEDs and your pendants and spots and everything. And there's a lot of lights there at the minute. And there's nothing worse than you come in the room and you, after a period of time, you learn what the switches are doing, but you touch on that switch there for whatever time evening is, whatever you wanted to do. But when you come in the room and the lights will just come on perfectly to where you want that set at, whether it be the morning time or the evening time or anything at all, that just takes away all the stress. And that's one of the things that we'll be going for at the minute, especially even for living rooms there with the media walls and all, and again with all like your LED and all there as well and your side lamps. That means, like for example, in my own house, I have that done as well, and we have it set for certain times of day that lights will come on at a certain level for watching TV.
Yes.
We just press a button, or for instance, we turn on the TV, the lights will all dim down, and that will just set the scene. So again, just for one touch of a button, we turn on the TV. You don't even have to go and turn on any touch the button for lights at all. It all just happens around you without even having to do anything. That sounds amazing.
Favorite film on, and you can just set that cinema mode, or
That's exactly what it is. And then also what you can do is you can incorporate motorized blinds in it as well. So that would be the next level. So the first part would be lights and heating, and the next part would be bringing in the electric motorization of your blinds and stuff. And then we'd incorporate that in as well, and that's another part that we can incorporate into like your living room or your media room or cinema room. Again, with one touch of a button, you can have the blinds closing, and then the lights will close down after the lights will dim down after that there, just to set the scene in the room. And it's amazing that you can just put one touch of a button and so many things that you can do. And there's other aspects of the house that the client themselves, they can go in and they can control and make changes within the app. So it's not a matter of fact that you need me to come back to do everything.
Yes.
There's a lot of features that they can do themselves.
So all the controls in their hands.
Controls in hands. So they'll have an app that will control the whole home, and they can control anything at all. So say, for instance, they have the room set up. So for instance, we have the room set up after we leave and on, they're living it. Well, they can come back and they can make their own changes in the app, save it in, and that's it, set for them again. They can add in more lighting scenes, more moods. They can do anything they want, and they can change times of day when the curtains are closed and so on. So many things that the homeowner can do as well. So that just, because I think that's probably would be a factor that homeowners would be nervous about, is that any small change, they'd have to get somebody like myself back to do the changes. But there's so many things that they can do themselves, so they don't need us to come back.
So you can set a morning scene, how you want the lighting to be when you get up in the morning, how you want it in the afternoon, how you want it in the evening, and presumably then for different times of the year, I suppose, because with living in the Northern Hemisphere, we have those shorter evenings in the wintertime and so on.
Yes, that can be done as well. All that can be done, and that can be changed throughout the year. Like for example, there in house there, as you say, as the time goes on, you can have lights coming on. Say in the morning you're going out to work, and you want the lights on outside, for example. Well, even for the inside house, but you can put on like certain timers, certain scenarios that the lights will come on outside in the mornings to do with daylight savings. So as the time goes on, they'll come on and go off. Or you can say you run out the car and you don't want the lights to be on after you leave.
Yes.
You press a button, the lights will come on, and after a period of time, the lights will come off outside again. So you're saving energy and you're not wasting electricity with having the lights and all on.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it is the efficiency, because as you were actually touched on earlier about rooms maybe you don't use as often for heating and so on, that the heating will, go into economy mode for those rooms that you're not using that often, and, heat up the rooms that you're going to be using at certain times of the day. You can have that preset obviously as well.
Another factor is lights been on a lot.
Yes,
so that's another one. Like you can imagine a house and the lights are always burning and kids running out of rooms and not going on.
Yeah.
So what you can is you can set the rooms that if there's no presence detected, then the lights will go off in that room automatically. So they'll go off all by themselves that you don't have to worry about. Or for example, if you're leaving the house, say you're in a rush to leave the house, you have to go to the shops, you're going away. Yeah. That instead of having to run around and turn all the lights off in all the rooms, you can have a button at the front door and you just press that there and that'll turn all the lights off for you, and you don't have to worry about running around and making sure you have lights and all off.
Hugely time saving for many of us who are running around the house after kids trying to turn out all the lights that they've turned on. You just know then all lights are out, great, we're away.
For example, there in our home there, it's the same in our home that we'd be doing, like with having kids, and the lights are always on in the rooms, and like even at the minute now in our house again. Like my young boy's 3, and if he walks in the room, the lights don't come on automatically. He's like, "What's going on here, Daddy? Like, why lights not coming on?
Why did it not work for me, Daddy?"
And I'd be saying to myself, "It's bright enough in here," because if the room's bright enough, again, the sensor will detect that there, and it'll say, "There's no point in bringing the lights on here because there's enough light in the room."
Amazing.
So there's things like that there to do with energy saving, because people will walk in the room and they'll think, "Right, we need to turn on the lights in here because it's just not bright enough."
Yes.
But you can have the house set up that at a certain level that the lights will not come on until it drops below a certain threshold, and then they will come on.
And you can predetermine that as well.
Predetermine that as well, and that's things that can be set up within the home too.
So in terms of the benefits really for home automation, it's not just about this being a really fabulous techie thing we can show off to our friends and so on. There is those benefits in terms of energy efficiency, and I'm assuming maybe like if you're away, I suppose as well, if you're on holidays, for home security and so on as well, that lights can be controlled.
Oh, that's a good one there now, because the home security one's pretty cool. You can have a thing called it's like a away mode.
Okay.
And the way that is there, like I'm sure you can imagine, like in Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin was pretending that the parents in the house and all like that there. So what you do is you set the house up as when you're away, that it goes into like a simulation mode. And what that does is it'll bring on lights in certain rooms in the home, and that will mimic that people are actually walking through the home. So if you're away on holidays, like years ago when you go on holidays, your aunties or your uncles or grannies coming down to turn on lights.
Somebody popped around to put the lights on for you.
You don't need to do that anymore. That will all happen in the background, and that will just mimic that there's people in the house. Blinds or curtains will close, and lights will come on in certain rooms at certain times of the evening, or so that will mimic that you're actually in the house when you're away. So there's wee things like that there's built in the background that people don't really know about. That wee special features that are really, really cool.
I would say that'll be of great interest to a lot of homeowners now, because it's like traditionally we would have left a lamp on or a lamp on a timer or something like this, but this is taking it to a whole new level in terms of actually simulating that you're at home.
It actually is, and like people when they leave the house or to go away on holidays and whatnot, they want to turn absolutely everything off, and they don't like leaving lamps on because it's wasting electricity and energy, especially with the things in a minute and the cost of everything. But you can have a setup like this here that you can have side lamps and all coming on at different times, or the lights in the room. But the lights in the room don't have to come on very bright. They'll come on dim, but it's just enough to mimic that people are in the house. And as I say, the blinds and all will close automatically. So like you're always going to close the blinds at the front of the house. So you can always mimic that there as well, that the blinds will close, and also as we things like that there. They're very cool features.
They're amazing features, because that really is practical for the homeowner now. Many of us worrying about being away from home for any amount of time.
Exactly, and the way things, people seem to go on more holidays at the minute, so it's a good feature there to have in the background.
Just the odd night away or whatever, and
it's the same even if you had a holiday home.
Yes.
It'd be absolutely perfect for that.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant for if you have a holiday home somewhere in Ireland and you're not going to be there for a significant portion of the year. Great to know that it's got that sort of mimicking that you're there. For people who are thinking about switching over from having manual control to having a home automation system, but they're worried about giving up manual control, what sort of reassurance would you give them, or advice would you give them in terms of switching over to home automation?
That is a massive fear for people.
Yeah.
And we hit on just that question before, is what happened if there's no internet and all? Yeah. But there's no fear in it at all. It's absolutely amazing to have a house. And like once you get into it, like I've done houses for people there, and what they say to me afterwards, they say to me is, I wish I'd have put more stuff in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like once
yeah.
they get the grips with it, and you get to learn and how simplified your life is with having a smart home,
Yes.
you would never go back at all.
Yes.
It's the same as like as technology, yes, gets better. The
Yes.
cars, people are used to driving the older cars and it's just basic, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then now
yeah.
the fancier and fancy cars you get. And they might be really difficult to use at the start.
Yeah.
But as you get used to it and get to live and learn, it just comes second nature.
Yeah.
Like for me, and like again with me having two young boys, you would never go back to a normal light switch or nothing at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they just, like somebody at that age there, they just love it. Like
Well, yeah, absolutely brilliant. Is it with kids in the house, as you say, you're not having to worry about every light being left on, and and they can automatically walk into the room and it's set at the right lighting for them to carry on and use the room. You're not getting called every 5 minutes to come and put lights on or turn lights off.
the same again, music coming on these
Yes,
rooms.
yes.
That's a big thing in a minute, having things zoned audio within the home.
Yeah.
And like we do that in a lot of houses at the minute. Most of the houses we do will always implement that in it.
Yeah.
And that's a really, really good feature as well.
Yeah. Is this really just for new homes, or can this be integrated into existing homes, or how difficult is that?
See, that's the thing that people get
Yeah.
worried about is they live in an older type home
Yes,
and
yeah.
they think that they have perceptions that they can't automate
Yes,
it,
yeah.
but you can. So that would be like sort of retrofit. Like every job you do, you want to do a brand new home because it's nice and easy.
Yeah,
Well, not
so-
nice and easy, but I mean everything's pulled in, all brand new wires.
Yeah.
But you can do retrofit. We done one on a large house in Southern Ireland there. There's a lot of planning goes into it now.
Yes.
Definitely is
Yeah.
to get it right. But like that house, an example, this house is maybe 30 years old, maybe more. We went in and we upgraded all the heating, we done all the lighting throughout the whole home.
Amazing.
We're able to get Wi-Fi through the whole house, and it can be done. And this is all using devices that are, you could call them like wireless devices,
Yes.
and they all talk to each other, and then
Yes.
they talk back to the main brain of the whole system, and it can be done. And yes, as I say, it is difficult, but it can be done. And people, after you do it, and people are like, yep, I can't believe you've done that there. Like,
Yeah.
that's amazing what you've done in this home.
Yeah, I
So-
think when you touched on there, what can be achieved wirelessly now is amazing as well. So it's not always maybe as much structural work maybe as people think is going to be involved in getting it wired into their home.
because we're actually using the existing wireless there,
Yes,
so we aren't
okay.
actually having to rewire anything at all. We're able to put devices
Yeah.
in certain areas within the home, and that will control the lights in that area there, and that's pretty cool now. Like it is
Amazing seeing a home transformed for the owners like that. Yeah, coming from, they say a 30-year-old home to something that's really right up to date. And in terms of platforms or devices that you use, is there any brands you prefer to use, or when it comes to home automation?
One of the main brands we'd use would be Luxon, and we would use Elan, and then we just recently are a partner for Lutron Homeworks.
Okay.
So we do have a project come off that there in a minute, and that would be like the three brands now we'll be using. There's loads of different brands out there,
Yes.
and none of them are any better or any worse than the others.
Yes.
But they're just the three that we've used, and
And how would you feel the appetite for smart home and home automation as in Northern Ireland? Would you say this is something that you're saying is a growing market, or is it something that's still, people don't have the awareness of just yet?
it's starting to grow. It's probably starting to get a wee bit more. People starting to use it a wee bit more, but at the same time, it's like everything. When people are building houses, different things get cut with the cost, and
yep.
some people will cut this year. But that was one of the things that we'd say to people: you don't have to do it all,
Yes.
because you can do certain parts of the house to begin with, and then what you can do is you can design in that you can add on as time goes on. So that's another thing that we'd speak to homeowners about.
Yeah, because you touched on that earlier, that a lot of people maybe put in certain level of automation initially, and then do you find a lot of people come back later and going, do you know what, this is so good, I want to add in more? And is that possible?
It is possible that one of the main things would be the motorization. People wouldn't put in motorized blinds or curtains at the
Yeah.
very, very start.
Yeah.
And then now what they'd say later on down is, we want to put in motorized blinds, motorized curtains. And they're they're easy enough to integrate into
Yeah.
the home, and they're all battery powered as well. So you don't have to worry about having to bring in cables or chase walls and all.
Yes, yeah.
You can stick it back up, pair them into the system, and away you go. It all ties in, and everything all works.
Yeah.
All
Well, as
together
you know,
perfectly.
that's an area I work in a lot, as like motorized blinds and curtains and so on. And I always say to people, it's amazing what you can do retrofitting those into homes. And as you were saying, touching on energy efficiency in homes, like keeping even strong sunlight out. When we've had that this summer with the amount of glazing we have, that sort of having motorized blinds or curtains can help kind of control the heat even within a space.
Can, yes. That's another part of what you can do with automation. So what you can do is you set it up that you can control as the sun goes from east to west.
Yeah.
As the sun follows right from east to west, the motorized curtains or blinds, say for instance motorized blinds, will all close one at a time.
As the sun hits that facade of the house.
Well, more or less, so you can set for about 30 minutes before there. So what they'll do is they'll close down to say about 80%.
Yes.
Which it's not actually blacking out, darkening out the whole room, but at the same time it's letting a bit of light in so you can move around. And that will happen to stop the heat from coming in because like if you imagine now you've a lovely big glass extension there and it's going to get roasting, so you can have that set up so that the blinds will close automatically. And
again, that's great when you're not at home because you go out in the morning, don't think it's going to be that sunny a day. As the day progresses, the sun gets warmer and hotter and you come home to a house that's like a sauna maybe in the evening. So
and exactly, and if you were away and say for instance you had animals and all in the house and they were maybe in as the main living area and that's where it was all glass, like even for like that for example, if you had dogs and all in there, like the blinds will all close and it means the likes of them aren't going to be roasted as well.
Yeah, that's
so
a good point.
There's ways like that there that comes in and it benefits the homeowner as well.
Yeah.
And also even for instance if homeowners are spending a lot of money on furniture and all, and like the sun come through, they get discolor and stuff as well. So it's things like that there that it
even wooden floors. I've had clients saying even if they have like beautiful artwork on walls and so on that like getting discolored over time. You know, wooden floors, sofas, so on. You know, we don't realise how much sunlight we actually do get in Northern Ireland. I think we don't see very much sunlight from one end of the year to the next, but we actually do.
Especially this past while. And there's things to get there with the motorisation of curtains and blinds, which is great within the home.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there any project you would say you're particularly proud of that you could give us like an example that has really brought home automation and it's been a sort of a shining light of example of what your work that you've done?
Again, with us, we do a lot of work between the Northern and Southern Ireland.
Yep.
But we did do one job in Southern Ireland there and it was a coastal house and oh my God, it was one of the nicest houses with the setting and all of where it was. And this house had everything you could put in it that was automated, like the multitude of curtains and roller blinds and boils and zoned audio and lighting. Like even when you come up the stairs from the ground floor to the fourth floor, all LED was coming on as you come up the stairs with a sensor and the wee things that got there in it. And like it was oh God, I just loved that house. And funny enough, I was down out of there a few weeks back there just to do updates because every now and then you do the courtesy calls to come down and they check things out. And that's my favourite house I ever done. And it's like an upside down house, like, and especially the kitchen area. It was a big, massive living area, and it had loads of glass. And then again, that's where, like, for instance, where your curtains and your roller blinds all close and to prevent the sun. That's again another project where that all comes into play, and it helps the house.
Amazing.
Always amazing, like.
Yeah, because I think lighting we've become more aware of lighting and how we can use lighting in our interiors. But that fact that it'll come on, like you're saying, the LED light when you're coming up the stairs is coming on as you come in up the stairs and lighting coming in different areas. So those beautiful feature lights that you have installed, you're not having to remember to turn them on. Like
exactly.
You spend all that money on creating these beautiful lighting features, but then half the time maybe you don't even turn them on.
Exactly, and we've it all set up. It can do. Like for example, the lights that come up them stairs they don't come on during the day because they don't need to come on because there's enough light.
Yes.
But again, when it gets to a certain time, you've it preset that when they hit a sensor, the lights all come on.
Fabulous.
And it just gives you a lovely pathway up the stairs. It's amazing. It was amazing. Like.
So Mark, looking forward from 2025 to 2030, say, how would you see that we're going to be living in our homes with smart technology now?
We're going to get a lot lazier. Because we're going to be doing absolutely, what do you call it? We're going to be just laying there, just everything be done on our phones.
Yeah. So we're going to be living like what we've seen in movies from years gone by. We're going to be literally living that life now coming forward.
Oh, well, sure did go. It definitely will.
The future's here already.
Because it definitely is. It definitely is. It's going to be amazing. Like.
Yeah.
And as technology just keeps getting better and better every day. Like.
Yeah, I think this is something we all need to sort of waken up to now because we are wanting our homes to be more efficient. We want our homes to be more secure. We're wanting to have more control over different settings within our home, and this really puts that in our hands and on our phones.
It does, yes, and energy efficiency is one of the biggest things. And if you can do whatever you can to reduce your carbon footprint, going down the route of having automation in your home is the ideal way of doing that there. Like.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, Mark, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. I think that has enlightened many of us to what smart home technology can achieve. And if you want to check out more from Mark, you're on Instagram,
Facebook, everything. You'll see me doing videos.
I know you do some very good informative videos. So anybody wants to find out more about home automation and what smart home technology can do, check Mark out.
Thank you very much, Sheena. I really enjoyed that there.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The Local Women Interior Design Podcast is brought to you by Bassett's, Northern Ireland's leading multi-award-winning bathroom, heating and tile specialist.